Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Education Platform. Now, before we begin with today's lesson, I'm going to be reading you a verse which is taken from Psalms 23, verse 1. And it states that, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He leadeth me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me to thrive in the still waters. He restores my soul. He leadeth me through the path of righteousness, for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy Lord and thy staff, they comfort me. Now prepare the table before me in the presence of my enemies. Now did I knit my hair with odd, my cup running over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen." Now, our first lesson is about the Washington March. The Washington March was led by George Washington in Washington, D.C. in the 18th century. The purpose of the Washington March was to help black people, also known as Negroes, to have jobs and freedom in America. Second is about the NAACP. The NAACP stands for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. The NAACP is the civil rights organization that both men and women should have equality, which can't be based on color. Our third lesson is about input, output, and storage. What is an input? An input is what is put in, taken in, or operated on by any process or system. The types of inputs are a mouse, a scanner, and a microphone. What is an output? The output is the amount of something produced by a person, machine, or industry. The types of inputs are headphones, a projector, a monitor, speaker, and printer. What is a storage? It is a technology consisting of a computer components and recording media that are used to regain digital data, in which the different types of storage are primary storage, a hard disk drive, also known as HDD, the SSD, the solid state drive, flash memory, flash drive, optical storage devices, and a floppy disk. Now, fourth, the Emancipation Proclamation. Now, the Emancipation Proclamation was signed by Abraham Lincoln on September 22nd, 1862, during the Civil War, which was the fight for equality. Now, by signing the Emancipation Proclamation, it helped to give all Americans, all black and women, equality in America, also known as the U.S. Now, fourth is parts of the earth. Now, the parts of the earth is divided up in layers, and they are the outer crust, the inner mantle, the outer core, and the inner core. Now, our fifth lesson is the color wheel. The color wheel is a circular shape that is evenly divided and shows the relationship between colors. First off, the primary colors. Now, the primary colors are colors that can't be recreated. The types of primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. Next, secondary colors. Secondary colors are created by the different combinations of colors. The types of secondary colors are green, orange, and purple. The complementary colors. The complementary colors are two colors that are opposite of each other on the color wheel. The complementary colors are red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. Our sixth lesson is how to make a fruit smoothie. It's easy to make a fruit smoothie. First, use the following ingredients. You can put any type of fruit except apples. Now, the following ingredients are fruit and yogurt. And by using it, you can create a delicious fruit smoothie, as shown. Next are the parts of the hurricane. Now, the parts of the hurricanes are divided up into the winds, the wall, and the eye of the hurricane. Next is the story on the most dangerous game. Now, it starts from Josephine Baker in 1906 was an African-American dancer and singer who became an international musical and political icon. After dropping off out of high school, Baker joined a vaudeville troupe as a dancer and headed to New York City. In the 1920s, she moved to France, where she became an overnight sensation, dancing and singing. It starts by Richard Connell, 1893 to 1949, was an American author and journalist. This short story, which is the most famous, is an action-adventure tale inspired partly by the big game safari tours in Africa and South America that were popular in the 1920s. This tale was also influenced by Connell's experience in World War I, which may have contributed to the story's message. Starts, "Off there to the right, somewhere, is a large island," said Whitney. "It's rather a mystery." "What island is it?" Rainford asked. "The old charts called it Ship Trap Island," Whitney replied. "A suggestive name, isn't it? Sailors have a curious dread of the place. I don't know why. Some superstition." "I can't see it," remarked Rainsford, trying to peer through the dank tropical night that was palpable as it pressed its thick warm blackness in upon the yacht. "You've good eyes," said Whitney with a laugh, "and I've seen you pick off a moose moving in the brown fall bush at 400 yards. But even you can't see 4 miles or so through a moonless Caribbean night." "Nor 4 yards," admitted Rainsford. "Ugh, it's like moist black velvet." "It will be light in Rio," promised Whitney. "We should make it in a few days. I hope the Jaguar guns have come from Purdy's. We should have gone good hunting up the Amazon. Great sport hunting." The best sport in the world," agreed Rainsford. "For the hunter," amended Whitney, "not for the jaguar." "Don't talk rot, Whitney," said Rainsford. "You're a big game hunter, not a philosopher. Who cares how a jaguar feels?" "Perhaps the jaguar does," observed Whitney. "Bah! They've no understanding." "Even so, I'd rather think they understand one thing: fear. The fear of pain and the fear of death." "Nonsense," laughed Rainsford. "This hot weather is making you soft. Whitney, be a realist. The world is made up of 2 classes, the hunters and the huntees. Luckily, you and I are the hunters. Do you think we've passed that island yet?" "I can't tell in the dark. I hope so." "Why?" asked Rainsford. "The place has a reputation. A bad one." "Cannonballs," suggested Rainsford. "Hardly. Even cannonballs wouldn't like such a God-forsaken place." "But it's gotten into sailor." How somehow? Didn't you notice that the crew's nerves seem a little bit jumpy today?" "They were a bit strange, now you mentioned it." "Even Captain Nielsen." "Yes, even that low-minded old Swede, who'd go up to the devil himself and ask him for a light. Those fishy blue eyes held a look I never saw there before. All I could get out of him was, 'Don't you feel anything?' As if the air about us was actually poisonous. Now, you mustn't laugh when I tell you this." I did feel something like a sudden chill. There was no breeze. The sea was as flat as a black glass window. We were drawing near the island. What I felt was a mental chill, a sort of sudden dread. Pure imagination, said Rainsford. One superstitious sailor can't taint the whole ship's company with his fear. Maybe, but sometimes I think sailors have an extra sense that tells them when they are in danger. Sometimes I think evil is a tangible thing with wavelengths, just as sound and light have. An evil place can, so to speak, broadcast vibrations of evil. Anyhow, I'm glad we're getting out of this zone. Well, I think I'll turn it in now, Rainsford. I'm not sleepy, said Rainsford. I'm going to smoke another pipe up on the after deck. Good night, then, Rainsford. See you at breakfast. Right. Good night, Whitney. There was no sound in the night as Rainsford sat there but the muffled throb of the engine that drove the yacht swiftly through the darkness, and the swish and ripple of the wash of the propeller. Rainsford, reclining in a steamer chair, indolently puffed on his favorite beer. The senseless drowsiness of the night was on him. It's so dark, he thought that I could sleep without closing my eyes. The night would be my eyelids, and a bird sounded startle him. Off to the right he heard it, and his ears, expert in such matters, could not be mistaken. Again he heard the sound, again and again. Somewhere, off in the blackness, someone had fired a gun 3 times. Rainsford sprang up and moved quickly to the rail. Mystified, he strained his eyes in the direction from which the reports had come, but it was likely try to see through a blanket. He leaped upon the rail and balanced himself there. To get greater elevation, his pipe, striking a rope, was knocked from his mouth. He lunged for it. A short, hoarse cry from his lips as he realized he had reached too far and had to lost his balance. The cry was pinched off short as the blood-warm waters of the Caribbean Sea closed over his head. He struggled up to the surface and tried to cry out, but the wash from the speeding yacht slapped him in the face, and the salt water in his open mouth made him gagged and strangle. Desperately, he struck out with his strong strokes after the receding lights of the yacht. But he stopped before he had swum 50 feet. A certain cold-headedness had come to him. It was not someone aboard the yacht, but that chance was slender and grew more slender as the yacht raced on. He wrestled himself out of his clothes and shouted with all his power. The lights of the yacht became faint and ever-vanishing fireflies. Then they were blotted out entirely by the night. Now, by reading this story, it persuaded you and to entertain you. Now, our next lesson is about mixing colors. Now, when you're mixing colors, you take 2 primary colors and mix them together to create a secondary color. When you mix red and blue, it makes purple. When you mix yellow and blue, it makes green. Now, next is the likes and dislikes in Spanish, Español. Me gusta la escuela. I like the school. No me gusta el bicicleta. I don't like the bicycle. Me gusta leer un libro. I like to read the book. Me gusta la música. I like the music. Me gusta dibujar. I like to draw. No me gusta jugar al fútbol. I don't like baseball. Me gusta la fruta. I love the fruit. Me gusta correr. I like to run. And last, me gusta nadando. I like to swim. Now, our last lesson is about solving exponents. Now, when you're solving exponents, you always have to solve for the third power in that exponent. Such as, for example, x to the third power. Now, if I add plus 2, then it would equal to x to the fifth power. Another example is x squared minus 1. It would equal to x to the first power. Now, before we go, we have some news. Education Platform's second year anniversary is on February 2nd, 2022. It's an event that you don't want to miss. Thank you and have a wonderful day.